So here is our video with those questions that you sent via text. I will have the whiteboard on the left side and the questions on the right side, and every once in a while we'll be referring to the answer just to make sure I selected the correct answer because we don't want to make mistakes. I will not be editing this video. I don't have time to edit it, so it's just going to be the raw video. There may be some awkward pauses while I think of things or maybe even mistakes, but we'll get the right idea by the time we're finished. This video was created with OBS Studio, open broadcast software. It's great for recording your screen or even streaming. OBS Studio. That's the commercial. Now on to the questions. Here are the question numbers that we'll be working on. I'll put them here so that we can cross them out and kind of make a list as we go. 46, 51, 52, 58. I'm pausing as I write these because 64. I have to take a minute to process the image. My eyes do not deliver clear images to me, and I've just closed everything somehow. So let's keep going. Boop. 73. I don't know why that happened. 75. 79. I think my elbow hit the computer. 88. Okay, now we will be able to cross these out as we go. And I'm trying to figure out what I did there. I don't know. Who cares? All right, let's do 38. Remember, these all have to do, or at least in this little section, they seem to have to do with fractions and ratios and things like that. A level building is built into the side of a steeply sloped hill. For every 100 feet of horizontal distance, the hill rises 12 feet. So we have some kind of a hill. It's always a good idea to draw a picture, and we'll do it like this. So here's our whole hill, and this is 100 feet. Okay, something of an image. If the ground is 3 feet higher at the back of the building than at the front, so let's pretend that here's the building. Oh, I've just done it again. Somehow I've gotten into moving my screen. Okay, so there's the building, and it says the ground is 3 feet higher at the back of the building than in the front of the building. And now I've got to figure out how to get this, well, no. See, now I've scrolled over, so that's not good. Let me move this a little bit. I told you this is raw video. Okay, and now I still don't have the whole thing in there. All right, let me try this. Start again. Man. All right, maybe I'll have to start again, maybe not. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway. Okay, so it's 3 feet higher at the back of the building than in the front of the building. If the ground is 3 feet higher, blah, 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 what is the horizontal depth of the building in feet? So we want to know how many feet long is the building. That would be the horizontal depth, the length of the building. And I've mislabeled this. Why didn't you say anything? It's 12 feet after 100 feet of horizontal, because it said for every 100 feet of horizontal distance, the hill rises 12 feet. All right, so now we know our horizontal distance x, that's the horizontal depth or whatever they call it of the building, is 3 feet high, equals, because this is a slope, it's a linear relationship, equals 12 feet. Whoops, I've written those backwards. Equals 100 feet of horizontal for 12 feet of height. And we're doing horizontal divided by vertical. In other words, the height of the building. So now we've set up a proportion. X horizontal to 3 height, or 3 vertical distance, equals 100 horizontal feet to 12 feet vertical distance. And all we have to do to solve that is cross multiply 12x equals 300, x equals 300 divide it by 12, and you can do it on your calculator, but I'm going to try to do it by hand. 12 goes into 30. 2 times 12 is 24, and that gives us 60, and that's 5. So 25 should be our answer, which is G, as in great. So all we had to do is set up a proportion. 100 feet of horizontal distance went up 12 feet. X feet, we didn't know what it was, of horizontal distance, went up 3 feet for the hill. So then we had to solve for X. And let us verify that that is the answer. Look at their diagram is so much better than mine. But they say the answer is G25. And proportions and ratios again, just as we said. All right, 38 is conquered. We have conquested it. And now we have to try to delete all of this information. Bip. And because I have made this uneven, now we're going to have trouble deleting everything. So I'll just do the best I can and then go to the eraser and go like that. And hopefully whatever I was doing that was making me drag the screen goes away now. Okay, that's erased good enough. All right, the next one is number 40. Which of the following is true about any two odd numbers? So, you know, we may be able to think about this and think of it in terms of the idea of odd numbers. But who knows, maybe we can't. So it's a good idea, just like I mentioned for some of the other questions, come up with some numbers of your own and then see which one of these are true. Maybe we can eliminate some of them, and then we'll only have to think about a couple. So it says, which of the following is true about any two odd numbers? Well, odd numbers are numbers that are not evenly divisible by 2. Even numbers and odd numbers are whole numbers. Like 1.5 is not odd or even. 2 is even. It's divisible by 2. 3 is odd. It's not evenly divisible by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. It's not a whole number result. So it's an odd number. So let's come up with two odd numbers. And we will call them 3 and we will call them 9. Those are two odd numbers. And now let's check each one of them. Their quotient is even. Now, if you don't know this, and by the way, you should write that on your supplemental sheet. Odd numbers are whole numbers that cannot be evenly divisible by 2. In other words, the result has some kind of a fraction or decimal in it. Even numbers are numbers that are evenly divisible by 2. If you divide them by 2, the result will be a whole number. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 1,372,148 divided by 2 is, you can do it on your calculator because I'm not a human calculator. But anyway, it will be a whole number because that first number, that big number I said, I don't even remember what it is now, was even. But anyway, so we've got 3 and 9. Their quotient is even, the result of division. So let's do 9 divided by 3. That equals 3. That quotient is odd. So F is out, F is debunked, eliminated, we're left with G. Okay, so now let's try their product. Well, H and J is their product is even. Product is the result of multiplication. That can go on your supplemental sheet as well. Quotient means division. Product means multiplication. So their product is even or their product is odd. All right, 3 times 9 equals 27. That product is not even. H is out, J is in. And if we did 9 times 3, by the way, it would also be 27. So we could do it either way, with multiplication. All right, then we have their sum is odd. So now we're left with either G or J. F and H are eliminated, and their sum. Right on your supplemental. The sum means the result of addition. So 3 plus 9. And is it going to be odd? 3 plus 9 is 12. That's even, so K is out. Now we're left with G or J. Well, it says their quotient. Well, 9 divided by 3 is a quotient of 3. What's 3 divided by 9? That's 0.3333. If you did it on your calculator. That's not a whole number. It's not even or odd. Unless it's a whole number, it can't be even or odd. So we've just found a case where the quotient is an odd. The quotient also is an even. And all we had to do was find one case here where the quotient wasn't even. So now we've disproved G. Any two odd numbers. Well, for 3 and 9, If you did 9 divided by 3, the quotient is odd. But if you did 3 divided by 9, the quotient isn't odd. It's also not even in either case. So G is out of the question, and we're left with J. And again, just to double check, remember, 9 times 3 is also 27, right back to where we were. So their quotient, or their product rather, is odd, which is J. And no matter what two odd numbers you pick, 1 times 5, the quotient, 5 times 1, the quotient, the product is odd. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 and 7, the product is 21. It's always odd. So J is always true. But we didn't have to look at every case and try to figure it out. All we had to do is think a little bit and try to find a case that would debunk or eliminate the other answer choices. And we did for all of them, just on the first two numbers we picked, 3 and 9, both odd numbers. With G, we had to flip the order. We had to make 3 the numerator and 9 the denominator in order to convince ourselves that it's not always odd, that sometimes it could be neither even nor odd. But anyway, the answer to that one is J. So there's 40. We have now completed it, and we'll go like this and get rid of all of that stuff. Okay. I have to be able to do the whole board, but now I'm afraid of going to the edges. The next one is 46. Let's go down to 46. 46. What fraction of the audience members consumed red meat at least twice in the past week? Well, this one, it could ask what fraction. It could also ask what is the probability of choosing an audience member that consumed red meat at least twice in the past week. But there's nothing there to tell us who consumed what. So there must be something above, and yes, there it is. It says, at a conference on better eating, the speaker asked members of the audience to fill out a questionnaire regarding their eating habits. 25 audience members responded. So whatever our fraction is, it's over 25 is the denominator. That's the whole. Responded. The following columns chart summarizes the number of times the audience member had eaten red meat in the past week. Note that 7 plus indicates 7 or more. Well, the question, to remind ourselves, asks us what fraction of the audience members consumed red meat at least twice. Well, at least twice, and it says the x-axis is times eaten red meat in the past week. At least twice means 2 times and more than 2 times. That's at least twice. So we're not worried about the 0 column. We're not worried about the 1 column. We're worried about all the other columns. So for 2, what is the value of 2? How many people? Because it says on the y-axis, number of audience members. So for the 2 column, 4 audience members ate red meat. And for the 3 column, it's 2 audience members. For the 4 column, it's 4 audience members. For the 5 column, it's 5 audience members. For the 6 column, it's 2 audience members, and for 7 plus, it is 1 audience member. So we add all those up because we want at least twice. That means 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and 7 plus times. All right, so let's add it. 4, 5, 6 plus 4 is 10. You could do this on your calculator. 15, 16, 17, 18 divided by 25, which is answer J. And let's just double check it because we always like to double check it. That indeed the answer for 46 is J. And there it is, 18 over 25. Now, you can't do that on the test, but this is self-study, so we want to make sure we get things right. So you always have to double check to make sure that you're getting it right. Let me delete all this stuff. Go on to the next one. All right, we've done 46. Number 51. Wait, I've got to bring that up too. Okay. 51. Jonathan is selling vintage albums to a rare music dealer. He earned $20 for each of the first 3 that he sold. I'm just going to write that down because who knows. So for the first 3 albums, he earned $20. This is album, and this is dollars. And I put it like that because I don't know. We've been working on fractions. Who knows? Maybe we're going to have to do a fraction again. He earned $20 for the first 3 he sold. He then earned $32 per album for the next 5 albums. What was the average amount he earned on 8 albums? Okay, so he earned 20 for each of the first 3. So 3 times 20, he earned $60 on the first 3. And then it said for each of the next 5, he earned 32 per album. So 5 albums at 32 per album, we multiply those to get the total amount he earned. So he earned $160 for those 5. And then it says, what was the average amount he earned on all 8 albums? Well, remember, average is the total or the sum divided by the number. So, of course, the number is 8. Well, what is the sum? The sum is all of these things added together. 60 plus 160 is 220. So he earned a total of $220. $20 for each of the first 3. That's a total of $60. $32 for each of the next 5. 5 times 32 is $160. So a total of $220. So now we just divide them. 8 goes into 20. You can do it on the calculator, but I'm going to do it this way. 8 times 2 is 16, and 6 is 22, and then 60. And 8 goes into 60. 8 times 7 is 56, and then 40, and 8 times 5 is 40. So $27.50, which is answer D for David. D is our answer. I always like to be complete by putting what answer letter it is. So just to reiterate, each of the first 3 albums earned $20. 20 times 3 is 60. The next 5 earned 32. 5 times 32 is 160. We wanted the average for all 8. So we added up all the money earned for all 8. That's $220 divided by 8. That's down here. And we got $27.50, which is D as in David. And I'm just going to check. Yes, D as in David, $27.50 is what he earned for this. All right, let's delete this one, and then we'll mark that we finished this question. Why can't I just say, computer, delete all the work, but leave my numbers up there? Cannot do it yet. Okay. All right, that is number 51, I think. I just have to double check your list once in a while so that I know I'm not missing anything. And again, I do apologize that I don't have time to edit all of this, but we just have to bear with us. Okay, 52. At a singing competition, 5 women and 6 men. I'm just going to write this down. Women, 5. Men, 6. Popeye the Sailor was a cartoon. Maybe you've heard of it. And instead of calling them women, he called them womming. He put an ing at the end of it. But anyway, we know what he meant. There were 5 of them. 5 women and 6 men are participating. 1 woman and 1 man are to be chosen to perform a duet to begin the competition. Among the competitors, there is exactly 1 brother-sister pair, Amy and Brian. What is the probability that the duet performers will be brother and sister? Okay, so we have to choose 1 specific woman out of all 5 and 1 specific man out of all 6. So the probability, because remember, probability when it's and is multiply. That's supposed to be a dot for multiplication there. And we knew there were 5 women, and I want 1 specific woman, Amy. And we know there are 6 men, and I want 1 specific man, Brian, I think his name was. So if I want Amy and Brian, it's 1/5 times 1/6, which is 1/30th, and that is answer J, as in, I don't know, John. Maybe John is their father, and he's very proud because they were both chosen. All right, let's check to make sure, and sure enough, 1/30th. So remember, again, probability is desired or thing of interest divided by total. And if I'm adding them together, and I want 1 and the other, then I multiply them. If I want it 1 or the other, let's change the question and pretend we want it. What it would be the probability of either Amy or Brian being one of these competitors? Well, then we add these things together. 1/5 plus 1/6. And we'd have to use a common denominator, 30, so this would be 5/30ths, and this would be 6/30ths. And the probability of having one or the other would be 11/30ths. which is now starting to approach 50%. We're almost 50% if we want to get either Brian or Amy. But the question didn't ask that. The question asked, what would be the probability that we get both of them, that would get the brother and sister? And the only brother and sister we had were Brian and Amy. So we had one chance with the women, Amy, and one thing of interest or one chance with the men, Brian, and women is out of 5 and Brian is out of 6. And because we wanted both, and we multiplied them, 1/5 times 1/6 equals 1/30. Answer J, as in, what did I say again? Jonathan. He was from another question, but maybe this is later in Jonathan's life, and now he's gotten married and had 2 kids, Brian and Amy. And they are at a singing competition, and we've picked a brother and sister pair. Okay, that's 52. Let's go on to the next one, which is 58, 56, 57, 58. Johanna participates in a loyalty program for her favorite local coffee bar, at her favorite local coffee bar. In this program, she gets her 9 cappuccini for free after she buys the first 8 cappuccinis at regular price. I know it's cappuccino. I like to say cappuccini. I don't drink it. If the total cost to Johanna of 9 cappuccinos is $36, what is the regular price? Well, remember, the 9th one is free, so she paid nothing for it. So that means she paid $36 for the first 8 cappuccinis because the 9th one was free. Well, what is the price per cappuccino? Well, 8 times 4 times 8 is 32, and that gives us 40 and 0.5. You can do it on your calculator. $4.50. D. So she pays $4.50 for each of the 8 cappuccinis, and then she gets the 9th one for free. That was a little twist on this. So the answer is $4.50. And we'll just verify it with this slow scrolling. $4.50. And that's average. That's mean. Sum, the total price she paid for all of them, divided by the number of cappuccinis, 8. And that gives us 4.5 per cappuccini. And again, I know it's cappuccino. I don't drink it. I do drink some coffee now and then. I try to drink coffee once a day, at least, before I do my exercise, because supposedly it gives me energy. 64. The cost of a new Z phone. Oh, isn't that clever? Z phone instead of iPhone, so they don't get sued by Apple. The cost of an, they might sue me now, Apple. Pretend I didn't say iPhone. I just said it again. The cost of a new Z phone was $380 the day it was released. 20 weeks later, the price had dropped to $120. Assuming that the price drops linearly over time, what was the price 8 weeks after the Z phone was released? So now we have to find out how much it drops per week and then multiply that by 8. So let's check it out. 380 the day it was released. I have to buy an iPhone 10 or 11 or 12 to get the camera. I wish the price of that had dropped this much. 20 weeks later, the price dropped to $120. So what's the total amount it dropped? You can use your calculator. It dropped $260. And it dropped that in 20 weeks. So if we divide 260 by the number of weeks, which is 20, we get the price drop per week. So that's going to be $13 per week. That's what it drops. Well, assuming that the price dropped linearly over time, what was the price 8 weeks after the Z phone released? Well, it's 8 times 13 is how much it dropped. You can use your calculator. So it dropped $104 only 8 weeks after. Well, what's 380? Because it doesn't ask for how much it dropped. It asks for what the price was 8 weeks later. 380 minus 104, that's 672. $276. Answer choice G. So the Z phone, man, it really went down a lot of money. $276. So again, first we had to find how much total price it dropped in 20 weeks. Then we divide that by 20 to find out the price per week Then we multiply that by 8, the number of weeks, to find out how much it dropped in only 8 weeks. And then we subtracted that from the original price to find out what the price was after 8 weeks. Another way to write this, I'll just give you this. You can go back if you haven't finished writing that stuff down. Another way to write this would be a linear equation, because we know that the price, let's say Y, or let's say P is the price of a Z phone, equals 380 minus something, which is the slope M, times, or I'm sorry, yeah, M times W, which is the number of weeks. So they gave us the first situation. They said after 20 weeks, it had dropped to 120. So we could put 120 equals 380 minus 20, because that's the number of weeks, times M. And then we could solve that for M. So we could get, what's 120 minus 385, or 385 minus 120? 6. Negative 265 equals minus 20M, and M equals negative 265 over 20, or just 265 over 20, 265 over 20, because the negative signs go away, and that comes out to 13 bucks. So then, now we know that the M is 13, we could rewrite our equation as P equals 380. Look how I turned that 0 into an 8, minus 13 times the weeks. And now it's an easy matter. They'd say, okay, how much did it drop in 8 weeks? Let me delete this stuff so we have extra room. I've taken away part of the room I would normally use by having this book on the other side. So if we had the price after 8 weeks would be 380 minus 13 times 8, because that's 8 weeks. Well, 8 times 3, so 104, 380 minus 104. And we get the same answer, which now I don't remember, so I'll have to do the subtraction again. You can do it on your calculator. 276, which is answer G. And let's just double check to make sure. 64 better be G, or we'll have to start this all over again. It is $276. All right, that's that one. Number 64. Let's delete all of that work. All right, we go on to the next one. Unedited, so you're getting a lot of the extra blather that comes along with this, and now I've gotten rid of everything. What's the next one? 69, and I want to look at my phone. It's always easier for me if you email things, because the phone screen is very small, but I think I've got it all here. 69 it is. I just wanted to double check to make sure I have all the numbers written down. 6-9er. 6-9er. Tasha flips a coin and writes down H if the coin comes up heads, and T if the coin comes up tails. That's common when we're flipping coins. She does this 4 times so that she has a string of 4 letters in order on her paper. How many distinct strings of letters are there? Well, this is kind of probability. It's called counting. And the way that we do it for counting, if we do it a certain number of times, we see how many different things we could have each time and then multiply all those together. So she's doing this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many different things can she get the first time? Well, heads or tails. 2 things. How many the second time? Heads or tails. How many the third time? Heads or tails. How many the fourth time? Heads or tails. How many possible distinct strings of letters can she get? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Now, that's if order, I'm trying to think here now, I've got to think for a second. That would be if order doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if the first one is heads or the first one is tails. So it could be either one. So there's 2 distinct possibilities. In reality, it could be heads, tails, or tails, heads. So let's check out the answer. 16. That's it. So 16, we got it. And oh, I forgot to put the letter down, which is D. I'm always just double checking to make sure we got the correct answer because order doesn't matter there. If order mattered, they said order mattered, we have to double it, and it would be 32 possibilities. Okay. Delete. All right, that was number 69. The next one is 73. And how did I know order didn't matter? Because it didn't say there that order mattered. 73. A train travels 720 miles and hours. It's 720 miles in 8 hours. That thing is moving. How many hours can be saved from the train's trip if it travels 30 miles an hour faster? All right, so let's see what the speed is in miles per hour. Let's divide 720 by 8. So what's 720 by 8? 8 times 9, you can do it on your calculator. 8 times 9 is 72, and bring over the 0. So 90. It was going 90 miles an hour. So now the question is, how many hours can be saved from the train trip if it travels 30 miles per hour faster? So now it's going to travel 120 miles per hour. Well, it traveled 720 miles in 8 hours. So that's how much it has to travel, 720 miles. And if it's going 120 miles an hour, how much time is that going to take? Well, what is 720 divided by 120? I'm going to do long division. You again can do it on your calculator. Let's see, it's not going to be 7, so let's try 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 720. So if it's going 120 miles an hour, it makes it 720 hours in only, or 720 miles in only 6 hours. 8 minus 6 equals 2, because it said how much time was saved, and that is D as in David, 2 hours. Another way to think about this one is with the following relationship. Whenever they're talking about speed like this in miles per hour or kilometers per minute or anything like that, you can do distance equals rate times time. Okay, so originally we had a distance of 720 miles equals some rate times 8 hours. And then we wanted to find the rate, so we would divide 720 by 8, and we'd get the rate is 90. Then we wanted the new situation, 720 equals our new rate, well, 90 plus 30, which is 120 times t. Distance equals rate times time. And so t equals 720 divided by 120. And that equals 6 hours. And then again, the question was how much time would be saved? 2 hours would be saved. So that's answer letter D. So distance equals rate times time you can always use whenever you're doing things that involve speeds and distances. And let's just double check to make sure that that is correct. 2, we got it. All right, we're doing good here. We are doing somewhat well. And if we get it finished, then my next thing for the day is some Bible study, and that will start very shortly. It was supposed to start, but I said, no, I got some other stuff to do first, so we have to put it off just a little bit. All right, 75. I love doing little videos about questions on ACT. In this case, they're not ACT questions. They're ACT style questions. I just love doing them and helping people with their ACT work. Marcy travels the 420 miles from Cleveland to Philadelphia by bus. The trip takes 12 hours traveling at some constant speed. If Mary wants a return trip to take only 10 hours. Oh, look at, we get distance equals rate times time again. What's the original situation? It said she went 420 miles and it took her 12 hours traveling at some rate. So we don't know what that rate is. All right, so the rate is going to be 420 divided by 12. You can use your calculator. 3 times 12 is 36 and 60. 12 times 5. So our original rate is 35 miles per hour. And then it says how much faster in miles per hour. So see, we'd have to know what the original rate was. The original rate is 35 miles an hour. Now she wants to make the return trip in only 10 hours. Distance, 420, equals whatever that rate is, times 10 hours. And so to find the rate, we divide both sides by 10, and we get 42. 420 divided by 10 is 42. So how much faster in miles per hour would she have to go? Well, her new rate is 42 miles per hour. Her old rate was only 35. 42 minus 35 is 7. So she'd have to go 7 miles per hour faster, which is B. Distance equals rate times time. And a lot of times when you do these, you can also solve it like a ratio like I showed the other way. But a lot of times when you get these, they give you one situation that lets you find the rate or lets you find the time. And then you use that to figure out the new situation, which this case is. But anyway, the answer is B, 7. And let's look at 75 and make sure it is. 7 is B. Okay. Boop. Let's get rid of this stuff. And again, no editing. Usually I'd edit all this extra stuff out and all of a sudden it would jump to the next part. But I just don't have time to do that today. All right, 79er. It would also make the video a little bit shorter. 79. Yasmin has measured the number of phone calls her household has received over the past week. I used to work with someone named is that Yasmin? It is Yasmin. That S sometimes disappears. Anyway, I worked with someone named Yasmin, a very nice young lady at the time. She's probably an old lady by now because I worked with her a long time ago. And I'm old, so she's probably old. Those numbers, starting with Sunday and continuing through Saturday, this is the number of phone calls her household has received, were 12, 3, 6, 2, 6, 11, and 9. So, man, these sometimes get a lot of phone calls. By how much did the average arithmetic mean number of calls per day exceed the median number? Median. Well, median number is we put them in order and we find out which one is literally the middle number. If it's an odd number of numbers, it's literally the number in the middle. If it's an even number of numbers, it'll be the average of the two in the middle. So let's see how many there are. 1, 12, 3, 6, 2, 6, 11, and 9. That's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So 7 days. Obviously, it's going to have one number right in the middle. So let's write them in order. It has to be an ordered list. So we have 2. We have 3. I think 3. Yes. 6. 6. 9. 11. 12. Now, I didn't do it, and I actually should have. I just don't want to mark up on my document. But you should cross out the numbers as you write them down. And let's make sure there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7. So what is the middle number? The middle number is 6. That's the median. Median is 6. By how much did the average number of calls per day exceed the median? Well, the exceed means it's bigger, so they've already told us the average is bigger. How do we find the average or the mean? We add them all up and then we divide by the total number. So it's going to be some sum divided by 7. Well, what is the sum? You can use your calculator. I'm just going to do it like this. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 6 is 11, plus 6 is 17, plus 9 is 26, plus 11 is 37, plus 12 is 49. So 49 over 7 is 7. So the mean or average is 7. By how much did the mean or average exceed the median? By 1. 7 minus 6 equals 1. Exceed means bigger. It was bigger than. So you can write that on your supplemental. Exceed means bigger. Who knows if you'll run across it. But anyway, again, median, you put the list in order, and then you find the middle number. If it was an even number of numbers, we'd have to add the two middle numbers and divide by 2. And then the mean is the sum of all the numbers divided by the number of numbers. And that was 7 in this case. 7 minus 6 is 1. The mean exceeded the median by 1, and that was 79er. 79. Just want to make sure we had it right. My goodness, look at 78. They had a long explanation. Anyway, that's 79. Ooh, what's left there looks like two eyebrows or something. Now I could draw a face if I wanted to. For some reason, I can't get that last little bit. See, we would normally delete this out, but no time. All right, 88. 88. 88. If 12.5% of x is 880, whenever you see of something, some percent of something, it means multiplied. So 12.5, you divide it by 100 to get the number. 0.125 of times x equals 880. So remember, when we're talking about word questions, of means multiply. Some percent of something means multiply them. So 0.125 times x equals 880. Then what number is 250% of x? So once we find x, we can do 250 is not 0.25. 250 is 2.5 x. Go ahead and do it. Do 250 divided by 100, because that's what a percent is. It's the number divided by 100. So a percent is a number divided by 100. So 250 divided by 100 is 2.5. So 2.5x is going to equal whatever this our answer is. Okay? So we have to find x. 0.125. So 880 divided by 0.125 equals 7,040. So now I get 2.5, because that's 250%, times 7,040 equals whatever our answer is. So let's multiply that by 2.5. 17,600. Okay, so there it is. So if 17,600, answer K as in kitten, 17,600. So let's make sure that is the right one. Which number is that? 88, 79. Oh. Did I pass it? 88, 17,600 K. So we got it. So that one, the key to remember is when they say X percent of something, it means that percent as a number. Divide that by 100 if they're giving you the percent as a number, times whatever the original number was. In this case, we just called it X, equals 880, is 880. Then we were able to find what that percentage is, or we were able to find what that original number is, which was 7,040. And then we multiply that by 2.5 for the new situation, because it asked what is 250% of the same number. And okay, I think I did an edit on there because I somehow closed my documents and I had to reopen them, and it was a whole big mess that I just didn't want to spend time on in the video. So I did cut that little part out. It was a mess. Anyway, there's the answer, 17,600 for 88. If you have any more numbers, send them. And at the end of the day, each day that if I receive the email, I will go ahead and make a video and explain them. If you have any questions on any of these, you can text or email. Email is better. Sometimes I get my phone into airplane mode, and then I get it out of airplane mode, and all of a sudden I'll get messages from the last 3 days. That's why email sometimes is better, because I can't put my email in airplane mode and I check it every day. But anyway, if you send me additional numbers, even from the next section that you're doing, say I don't quite understand these, I will make videos and explain them to you, and maybe even do some editing in there a little bit more to cut out some of the junk. Anyway, that's all the ones that you had from the list that you gave me. So I'll talk to you next time. Take it easy.